All right. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bear Sheath Farm with your host, Levite Khan. And as you can read with the title, we will be going through Shemoth, or Exodus chapters 36 through 40. And then I'll be talking a little bit, of course. I don't care that, if people want to chat and do your thing there, yourselves, I'm cool with it. Welcome and shalom to Ryan Acadian 93. How you doing? Just all you monitors or wrenches or whatever, be sure to keep your eye on any trolls. Now, there was one gentleman a few days ago. Welcome and shalom to Carolyn Gannon, and he was kind of a dipwad, and it was Lucifer, Lucerian, or something like that, and he put in the rapture's soon, or be rapture soon, rapture ready soon. I don't care about that. Go ahead and mess with somebody like that, as long as it doesn't get vulgar. Why not? My wife, she got a little bit upset and just deleted them, but deleted the comment. But yeah, I leave it up there. Something stupid like that, just leave it up there. Besides, whenever Haas and Witzke and them make it in, they like messing with people a little bit, and I get it. Trust me, I do. But anyway, after the talking, I have a couple of funny videos on Pole Dancer Girl, AOC of the 14th Congressional District of New York. I'm trying to think, is she 36 to 37 now? I'm going to quick look, and then I'm going to get with the reading. On how she thinks that Elon Musk is unintelligent. She's still 36. Okay, October 13th, she'll be 37. She's something else. Anyway, it's good humor. What else can you do but laugh? But that being said, folks, it's also a very serious deal. All right, let's get this moving. Chapter 36 of Exodus. Then wrought Bezaleel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man in whom the Lord put wisdom and understanding to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that the Lord had commanded. And Moses called Bezaleel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man in whose heart the Lord had put wisdom, every one whose heart stirred him up to come unto the work to do it. And they received of Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary to make it withal. And they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning. And all the wise men that wrought all the work of the sanctuary came every man from his work which they made. And they spake unto Moses, saying, the people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which the Lord commanded to make. And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing. All right, that's a good thing. People bring so much and they're so generous that you have to tell them to stop. I kind of like that. Actually, I really like it. Verse 7. For the stuff they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet. With cherubims of cunning work made he them. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of one cubit 4 cubits. The curtains were all of one size. And he coupled the 5 curtains unto one another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled one unto another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of one curtain from the selvage in the coupling. Likewise he made in the uttermost side of another curtain in the coupling of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain which was in the coupling of the second. The loops held one curtain to another. All right, let's see. Welcome and shalom to Old Path. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're feeling better. All right, let's go to verse 13. And he made 50 taches of gold, and coupled the curtains one unto another with the taches, so it became one tabernacle. And he made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made them. The length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of one curtain. The 11 curtains were of one size. And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of the curtain in the coupling, and 50 loops made he upon the edge of the curtain, which coupleth the second. And he made 50 taches of brass to couple the tent together, that it might be one. And he made a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and a covering of badger skins above that. And he made boards for the tabernacle of shittim wood, standing up. The length of a board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of a board 1 cubit and a half. One board had 2 tenons, equally distant, one from another. Thus did he make for all the the boards of the tabernacle. And he made boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side southward, and 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which is toward the north corner, he made 20 boards. And there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward, he made 6 boards. And 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle in the 2 sides. And they were coupled beneath and coupled together at the head thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them in both the corners. And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And he made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from one end to the other. And he overlaid the boards with gold, and made the rings of gold to be places for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. With cherubims made he it of cunning work. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold, and their hooks. And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold, and he cast for them 4 sockets of silver. And he made an hanging for the tabernacle door of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen of needlework. And the 5 pillars of it with their hooks. And he overlaid their chapters and their fillets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass. Okay, that's all 38 verses of Exodus chapter 36. Let me look here. Yes, Better Today still got issues, but Better Today, and I also apologize. I'm used to watching the secular folks and didn't think to ask you guys to pray. Well, we've been praying for you anyway, Old Path. Don't worry about that. But it doesn't hurt to ask. I don't like asking folks to commit abomination and praying while turning their own ear from hearing the law. I get it. I totally get it there, Old Path. But you're all right here. All right, now that I've looked at this stuff, I think I'm caught up on the chat. Let's go to chapter 37. And Bezaleel made the ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth of it, and 1 cubit and a half the height of it. And he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. And he made stays of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the stays into the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of one piece made he them on the 2 ends of the mercy seat, 1 cherub on the end on this side, and another cherub on the other end on that side. Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another, even to the mercy seat seatward were the faces of the cherubims. And he made the table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold round about. Also he made thereunto a border of a handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about. Before I go on to verse 13, I will, as long as you're awake, I guess you can answer the phone. I will call you, Old Path, after this live stream is done. If you don't answer, I'll just figure you went to sleep or something, but, no big deal. I'll go ahead and give you a call. If you don't answer, I'll do something very rare for me. I'll leave a message. I don't normally do that, but Ryan can tell you that. God, hardly ever leave a message. Let's go to verse 13. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border were the rings, the places for the staves to bear the table. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes and his spoons and his bowls, and his covers to cover withal of pure gold. And he made the candlestick of pure gold, a beaten work made he the candlestick, his shaft and his branch, his bowls, his knobs, and his flowers were of the same. And 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds in one branch, a knop and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in another branch, a knop and a flower. So throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. And in the candlestick were 4 bowls made like almonds, his knops and his flowers, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knops and their branches were the same. All of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps and his snuffers and his snuff dishes of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold made he it, all the vessels thereof. Before I continue on to verse 25, just look how detailed Elohim really is. And this is just a taste. I mean, common sense tells me this because we're finite where he's infinite. And he wants pure stuff too, pure gold. The word pure is the term pure is used quite a bit. So we serve a very detailed, precise Elohim that has absolutes. Welcome, shalom to Haas. Yeah, I know. That seems to be an issue for a lot of people with a lot of channels there, Haas. Okay, verse 25. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it a cubit. It was 4 square, and 2 cubits was the height of it. The horns thereof were of the same. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof round about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto it a crown of gold round about. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be places for the staves to bear it withal. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary. And that's all 29 verses of chapter 37 of Exodus, ladies and gentlemen. Also, rebuke and reprove. Welcome to you. Shalom, Craig. Welcome and shalom to you. All right, people are making it in. That's good. You can also see, as well as Elohim being very precise, detailed, and pure, even from our finite point of view. What was I going to say? Again, it's like Ezekiel with the Ezekiel temple. so many people have to say it's all symbolic and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe there is symbolism in the scriptures. I get it. But a lot of this stuff is right out in front of us. And like even this tabernacle and stuff before the temple and that. I mean, this is an architect could look at this and understand it very easily. An unsaved architect who has no interest in God, as well as an architect who is in salvation. I think we have 43 verses coming up in chapter 38. No, we don't. We have 31. I think it's the next one, maybe in 39. It is. But anyway, let's keep this moving. Have some things we want to discuss and some funny videos we want to watch. Chapter 38. And he made the altar a burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof. It was 4 square, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots, and the shovels, and the basins, and the flesh hooks, and the fire pans. All the vessels thereof made he of brass. And he made for the altar a brazen grate of network under the compass thereof beneath unto the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of brass to be places for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with brass. And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the altar to bear it withal. He made the altar hollow with boards. And he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it brass, and the looking glasses of the women assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he made the court. On the south side, southward, the hangings of the court were of fine twined linen and 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the north side, the hangings were 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the west side were hangings of 50 cubits. Their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the east side, eastward 50 cubits. The hangings of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate on this hand and that hand were hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen. And the sockets for the pillars were of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the overlaying of their chapters of silver, and all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver. And the hanging for the gate of the court was needlework, of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, and 20 cubits was the length, and the height in the breadth was 5 cubits, answering to the hangings of the court. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their chapters and their fillets of silver. And all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, son to Aaron the priest. And Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord commanded Moses. And with him was Eliab, son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a cunning workman, and an embroiderer in blue, and in purple, and in scarlet, and fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for the work, and all the work of the holy place, even the gold of the offering, was 20 and 9 talents, and 730 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,700 threescore and 15 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. So that'd be 700. Let's see. 1,775, I believe that number is. Welcome and shalom to Brother Timothy. How you doing, bud? All right, verse 26. A bekah for every man, that is, half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that went to be numbered from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000 and 3,550 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets of the veil, and 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for a socket, and of the 1,770 and 5 shekels he made hooks for the pillars and overlaid their chapters and filleted them. Some like to say filleted. I say filleted. Anyway, verse 29. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels, and therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. That's all 31 verses of Exodus chapter 38. I'm going to go take a peek out to see what my dogs are barking about. Just take me a few seconds. All right. Just to validate them, I don't want my dogs to be scared that I get annoyed, or whatever with them barking. Yes, I love my dogs. They're my pets. They're my family, part of my family. But at the same time, they're also assets. Coyotes come around and stuff like that, or somebody just stupid comes and wants to try and come onto my property without permission. We're going to have an issue. Let me look here. All right. Let's do the 43 verses of Exodus chapter 39. And of the blue and purple and scarlet, they made cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires, to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it, to couple it together. By the two edges was it coupled together. And the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in weishes of gold, graven as signets are graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod of gold, blue and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. Before I continue on to verse 9, I'm going to put the fan up to the where it's aiming more towards the ceiling, because I'm having to really keep my hand on my pages. All right. I'm very grateful for that fan. Make no mistake. When I'm having to do this all the time, that does get annoying. Okay, verse 9. It was 4 square. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set it excuse me. And they set in it 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row. And the second row, an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a liger, and a gate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in weishes of gold in their enclosings. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, everyone with his name according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And they made 2 weishes of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they fastened in the two leashes and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other gold rings and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath toward the forepart of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of blue. And there was an hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of an habergeon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates, and a bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem of the robe to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. I'm having to make sure with my lack of teeth that my tongue doesn't go all aubrey on me. Let me look at the chat here. Okay, welcome and shalom to Wilfred Witzke. I probably already said that, but you know. All right, let's go on to verse 27. And they made coats of fine linen, of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like to the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And they tied unto it a lace of blue to fasten it on high upon the mitre, as the Lord commanded Moses. Thus was all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished, and the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent, and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets. And the covering of ram skins dyed red, and the covering of badger skins, and the veil of the covering, the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat. The table, and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick, with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver, and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, and his sockets, and the hanging for the court gate, his cords, and his pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the congregation. The clause of service to do service in the holy place, in the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and his sons' garments to minister in the priest's office, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded. Even so had they done it, and Moses blessed them. All 43 verses of Exodus chapter 39. Also, as well as talking about the pureness, the preciseness, and the detail of our God, ladies and gentlemen. Also, they're working as a team, the people. They're doing something very harmonious, very from a communal perspective. Just wanted to emphasize that a little bit. Now we have chapter 40, and we'll be done with Exodus. I think it's 38 verses. Yeah, it's 38 verses. And then, of course, God willing, tomorrow we'll start Leviticus. Let me take a breather here. Oh, boy. And that's the way it should be with us like-minded people that are of the same true faith. Alrighty then. Chapter 40, shall we? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. As thou shalt bring in the table and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it, and thou shalt bring in the candlestick and light the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle, and all that is therein, and shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering, and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver in his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt bring his sons, and clothe them with coats. And thou shalt anoint them as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. For their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses according to all that the Lord commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, and set up the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above upon it, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And he burnt sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of the burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as the Lord commanded Moses. Whew. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat, when they went into the tent of the congregation, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. And thus ends the reading of all 40 chapters of Exodus. I'll take a look at the side chat, and I may need to bring my dogs. I may need to take a couple minutes. I suppose I can switch the my laptop around so you guys can kind of see that going on. Hold on here, I'm moving some things. I really like to get them in. I won't have to bring them out until probably between midnight to 3 in the morning. I'll look at the chat here. Yeah, I know. You know how many teeth I've lost over the years that we've been together, Deb. Must be those professional wrestling skills you have. No, I have bad teeth. I brush regularly and all that, but what are you going to do, huh? I still need to get rid of a couple yet, too. Ark was created for purpose to on the line in time. Jesus, Yeshua's blood to be on the mercy seat for the new covenant, yeah. And his crucifixion. Ron White, oh yeah, I remember he was an amateur archaeologist, and even though he was amateur, he got a lot of things going to where the professionals wouldn't be where they are today if he wouldn't have done what he did when he was alive. All right. All right, let's see what I can do here. And then I'll get to talking and then play some videos. yeah. I think. Yeah, you'll see. Okay. I know.
Yeah, you know it, don't you?
Anyway. Come on, buddy.
Anywho.
Okay, here's Kakarot.
He's
come on. Oh, yeah. Kakarot. Kakarone. Good boy. He's anywhere from 94 to 98 pounds. Yeah. On the 17th, in a couple of days, I'm going to weigh them all again. Because on the 17th, Goku, who I'm bringing in next, he'll be 10 months on that time, and he's bigger than Kakarot. Good boy. All right. Last time I weighed Goku, he was over 111 pounds. I mean, Kakarot's like over 2.5 years old, but so he's a lot more mature, and his bones are more dense. His muscles, he's more coordinated. But he's a big boy. Buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here. Let's get you standing up. Come on. Oh, yes. Yes, good boy. Oh. Yeah, he'll be 10 months in a couple days from now. Yeah. Yeah, you a good boy, Goku? Huh? Yeah. Are you hungry? Ooh. Yeah. Giant breed. He's half German Shepherd and half Great Pyrenees. Kakarot's half Great Pyrenees and half Siberian Husky. Here, come here, buddy. Go in. Good boy. Go in. And get Ayla. Good girl. Hold on, let me shut the door. Good girl, there. Everybody wants to see you. Ooh. Now she's my twerp. I don't know, 65 to 70 pounds, I suppose. We're going to find out in 2 days, aren't we?
She's my singing dog.
She's you're on kind of camera. Yeah. You. So get you all a treat.
I'm beautiful
Okay.
albino.
Yeah, she's no albino, and she's like God knows how many different breeds. She's a times 57, all right. Okay, good girl. Go ahead.
Pyrenees, Bulldog, and Labrador.
All right. Okay. Well, folks, today was a long, but a good day. I had to clean the large chicken coop again. This time I got to wait 15 days. Yeah, probably 15 days or something. I think it was. Here, Goku. Good buddy. Good boy. Dracula. Good boy. And Ayla. Good girl. Goody. Good girl. All right. Their main side treat, I do value pack dog food, plus we mix in a lot of our stuff, like grease, nutritional stuff with their value pack dog food. And but as far as their main side treat, this is what I get from Whirl King. Seems to be doing pretty well. So anyway, check the chat again here. I mean, things are going all right, I guess. I tell you, with that heat and humidity, I've got to keep up on my coops now. Like tomorrow, finally, Deb's pet, as she calls her. Oh boy, Powder's laying eggs again, but I've got to clean her tote there behind us, and we still have 5 biddies behind there in another tote, and they're starting to get kind of rank too. I don't have to do them as often. I probably do them once a month. But that being said, no, I've never done. I have in the past, I think, but I've never done that for them. I know what you're talking about, green teeth sticks. Yeah, I'm afraid. I mean, I even did a live. How many live streams ago I did on dog food and treats and stuff? I don't trust a lot of it. This I do to an extent. But I'm trying to get connections made, where I'm even willing to go to somebody's home or have them drive here since we don't have a vehicle, and I can pay them if they're willing to bring us dog food and treats and stuff, that they make. I don't know if I trust the green sticks anymore, Hoss. When I used to train and rehab dogs over I know, trust me, I know, Wilfred. Over 20 years ago, up in Minnesota, my home state, down to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, I did a lot of training and rehabbing, and you could trust the dog food for the most part compared to now. Now, there was a recall. When was that? I think 06, probably around 20 years ago. But thankfully, the dog food I used didn't get affected. But people's dogs were croaking, and they had to recall a whole bunch of stuff then. I used Petco. I did go to PetSmart every now and then, especially when Sioux Falls first put one in, but I always liked the customer service better at Petco, even though you paid a tad bit more. And I was personal friends with some of the people there. But things have changed so much, Hoss. And I'd have to really look into the green sticks before I'd consider using them. Maybe they are really good, and but I have to know that. So, I'm trying to think if I think I've used green sticks. I don't know. I've dealt with over 1,500, 1,600 dogs throughout my life, and some are somewhere around there, off and on, So that being said, but yeah, I had to clean that chicken coop today. And even though it was bad, it wasn't as bad as it normally is. There was one time I went almost a month, and I had to clean it. That's when the weather started hitting us hard. You know, the heat and the humidity, evidently El Nino a little bit. I waited 13 more days, and it was bad. I had to do it again. This time it's been 15 days. I think this will help now because we did separate our bitty hens along with the three roosters that we want to keep. I put them in yesterday. Deb and I, we did a bunch of board work, and I covered, and did a bunch of cutting with my skill saw, and we fitted in the pen, for the floor. I haven't used that in many months, probably about a year. I'm not sure. When I say quail pen, we're not doing quail here, and I don't want to have to do them again anyway. But we use them. We use chickens. We do put chickens anyway, and I did all that yesterday. Deb and I did together, and so we got, I think, 8 chicken biddies, that are growing up. So we have 5 future laying hens there and 3 roosters. Now I left the 7, 8 roosters that are in the large coop. The one that I had to transfer them obviously, but into a brooder box in the barn, and I cleaned it and put them back in when I had everything ready. They're going to be for meat. Between December to February sometime, we're going to do a lot of butchering, off with your head. And anyway, so it was a good day today, even though it was stinky, rank, repulsive, but I'm used to it. I'm a homesteader. But anyway, we did that, or I did that. You got it. Exactly, Hoss. Whatever, Deb. I thought it was 13 that we were going to butcher. If it's 12, I'm fine with that. We probably should grow some more, or we probably should incubate some more, But rather than sit here and ponder on all that, I've been keeping track of things. I'm continuing to watch. Last night I watched part 8 of that Europa, the last battle on BitChute. So I'll be doing part 9 tonight. I don't know. It'll either do just part 9 or parts 9 and 10 together, whichever way it goes. I'll have to look into it again. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff rehashed for me, even though it's been quite a few years, but I am learning a few new things that are making sense. I mean, it's almost like an algorithm, guys and gals. But yeah, I think Deb, I don't know if Deb knows how to make jerky. Do you, Deb? Just type it in. Don't be hollering over from the other side of the house. Okay, she went duh. She hollers anyway. But that being said, folks,
You remember I made plenty of jerky.
yeah, you did. You made plenty of jerky. But that being said, folks, I keeping track of what's going on. Now they're calling some data centers information centers, and that's getting exposed. There's been such a public outcry, I guess, even from all the soy boys and mannish wannabe girls, women, because they're not. It's not like they do anything but protest, and be stupid. But due to enough pressure, and people don't want them in their areas, and I don't blame them. I don't want one here, and hopefully it won't happen. But that being said, folks, what they're doing is trying to work around it. And I think it was on Riverside Homestead. There's this retired, not scientist, but retired engineer, and pointed out, going, wait a minute, information center. Well, this isn't. It's an AI data center because it has the same shelves and everything. And he pretty much put it out there and on whatever news channel. And Riverside, Cohen Barston, I think that's his name. He because he puts his name out there. He put it out there on his high viral channel, which I'm glad he does. I use a lot of his material, and I'm grateful for it. I don't know these Democrats, and they're not Democrats, just so you know, but they think people are that stupid. The Rhino Republicans. Oh, and I have to correct a mistake. The late Lindsey Graham now, it's not his daughter. It's his sister that's going to be replaced. The governor's pretty much ushering her in until election. So I said daughter, and I shouldn't have said that. I meant Lindsey Graham's sister for South Carolina. So she'll be sitting or acting senator. And, but I watch this stuff, folks, and it's the same old crap. I will say this. Acting Attorney General Todd Wallace Blanche, Todd Blanche, he is getting more arrests made and stuff like that. But, these are, again, and I'm glad they're being arrested and detained. I'm glad there's more deportations going on, getting past the woke, libtard, activist judges, but the real names that I want to see arrested, I'm sure I will not. I don't know. Trump has no sack. He's probably been bought off. And I'm not even talking necessarily bought off as in financially. He's a billionaire. How would you buy somebody like that off? But yeah, all this going on around and stuff. And another guy was killed in self-defense by ICE. This time it was in Maine. What, two days ago, 3 days ago? I'm on ICE's side for this. That guy tried to run him over. I get taking one illegal alien into custody, another illegal alien getting involved, being stupid. And you come running to me with your vehicle, and I have my tool. What do you think I'm going to at least try to do? Duh, just dirt dinner. But you can't reason with people like this. Okay, you've got people that are, yeah, I know you're right on that, Craig. But you got people that they want the borders totally open. They don't vet anybody. You can have a rapist / serial killer on your hands, and they're fine. They won't do it, and they encourage. I'm talking to high up political leaders, and they encourage the sheeple to try and keep them free in our country. I mean, there's no reasoning with that stupid, silly nonsense. Go BS. I don't know. I could say it more bluntly, I suppose, and just use the full words, but some people don't like it when I do that, and I'm trying to be nice. Being nice can be pretty difficult to accomplish at times. So that being said, folks, I just, you can't reason with these people, and you do want to believe them. When they say, things like, we'll remember all of this. Now, I'm not a mega Republican. You all know this, but I am very hardcore militant Torah garter and conservative. I mean, if they get power back, you guys, we better get ready to run for the hills. ICE agents, border chief agents, and any other branch who has and does assist. I mean, you got FBI and ATF agents and stuff like that assist with a lot of this, and other federal agencies. Robert Garcia has an ICE tracker. Robert Garcia, as in the representative for the 42nd Congressional District of California. But that being said, I'm venting again. Let's have some fun. Give me a minute. This is going to come from Matt Walsh, and I do like quite a bit of his stuff. So he's not as conservative or as hardcore as I'd like him to be, but hey, he's got some good morals in that. But the way he makes fun of ALC, but he shows her talking about how she thinks Elon Musk is not very intelligent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Elon Musk. But you look, truth is truth, man. The man is a genius. The first trillionaire. I mean, he's a brain. Okay? That's just for good or for bad. Anyway, let's get this here. Come on. There we are. Oh, yeah. She's something else, man. All right, let's do this.
You might think it's been a pretty good year or so for Elon Musk. His company SpaceX caught a rocket booster midair. His other company, Tesla, revealed a self-driving robo-taxi and an autonomous robot. Then there's Neuralink, allowing paralyzed people to control computers with their minds. Then he moved into the White House after restoring freedom of speech to social media using his other company, X. But all of these achievements, you may be surprised to learn, pale in comparison to the many accomplishments of a former bartender and current member of Congress named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And that's why the other day, AOC put Elon Musk in his place. She delivered an extremely coherent and rational takedown of Musk, a takedown that doesn't suggest in the slightest that she's thinking about him all the time or has any kind of unusual preoccupation with him whatsoever, or might even have a kind of romantic infatuation with Elon Musk. Not at all. Now, admittedly, I'm not capable of capturing AOC's brilliant assessment with any kind of paraphrase, so I'll just play the clip for you, and here's what she had to say.
This dude...
Raising Cane's is celebrating National Chicken Finger Day.
Check yeah.
Oh, come on.
Whether you're a professional technician or simply take pride in maintaining your own cars, Harbor
is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed. Which, you know, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV. Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, like, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart. And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also just least knowledgeable about these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button inevitably. They are going to hit a button and things can go sideways.
Now, at first glance, a clip like that is obviously pretty convincing. AOC.
Okay, I'm going to continue this. Let me do that. And I'll put, you want to know her brilliance? I could play the part from Benny Johnson or somebody else, I suppose, where with her TikTok account, she didn't even know what a garbage disposal is. It's been many years, but I've even been through, when I told you I've been through New York State, I've even been through Yorktown Heights. That's where she grew up. That is a very rich community, very high class. And that being said, very safe. Even back in the Biden-Harris days when police were being controlled and being defunded, they kept all the police they needed and more. You don't do it to a bunch of rich people. I think she was born in the Bronx. You know how she says, I'm a girl from the Bronx. Well, they took her out of there and raised her in Yorktown Heights before she was even a year old. So anyway, but let me, rather than do the garbage disposal, let's do this one. This girl is really something, I'm telling you. This is ridiculous.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a...
Today, Junior?
This is, of course, a very long-standing policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point, and we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
With you, would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a,
Today, Junior.
Actually, let me thumb this. No, I'm not going to. Never mind. I did find it. Well, I think that's why it was playing again with the short. I was looking for the garbage disposal nonsense. Give me a second here. I'll share this. I think. Yeah, let's hope this is it. I'll go ahead and share this. This is absolutely ridiculous.
I am told this is a garbage disposal. I've never seen a garbage disposal. I never had one in any place I've ever lived. It is terrifying. I don't know what to use it for or what its purpose is. Like food scraps? Like, is this environmentally sound? I don't know.
Who elected this woman?
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right. And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020.
AOC is crazy. If it was just once that she did something bizarre, then I'd understand it. But every time she opened her mouth.
Inaugurated January 3rd, January 4th, we're signing healthcare, we're signing this.
But they don't actually inaugurate Congress people, they swear them in.
And then she went on to say that she was going to get inaugurated on the 3rd and then start signing bills on the 4th. You don't get inaugurated and you don't sign bills. Only the president will sign the bills that you present to him.
This young lady, I wonder if she's smarter than a fifth grader.
The benefit of capitalism is that you engage in voluntary trade. It is the system that, unlike all the others, has lifted more people out of poverty over the course of human history than any other system. Well, so I think that those things that you talk about, that you discuss, are part of the course of human evolution.
Oh, my goodness, bless her little commie soul. But she appears to have her political colors mixed up.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're going to flip this seat red in November.
She knows absolutely nothing, and she's made it to Capitol Hill.
Yes, but I also think that what people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing in some of these areas and places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes.
Do you think you can expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd also I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
I would encourage you to sit still for a minute and learn the job.
Ridiculous.
When your home feels clean.
Oh dear. Oh man. Yeah, give me a second, folks. I gotta. Okay. Oh man, let me get this back up so you can see my ugly mug. Let me unshare this. Okay, that was humorous in a way, but it really isn't. These are the people that are making law, trying to make laws. And if you look her up, and I've done this way in the past, and I do remember, usually when you go to college, you get your 4-year degree. It's standard. You have a major and a minor. Well, she has a double major, international relations and economics of some sort, one sort or another. And she's a dirty commie. She can say socialist, Democrat, all she doggone wants. It's just, oh, wow. I don't know what their standards were. Like, I earned my technical certificate in a tech college, Duluth Technical College, it was called at the time. They eventually changed it to Lake Superior College. But that RN instructor, figuratively speaking, she sledgehammered things in our heads, and I saw people fail. But they had real standards, and that's just from a technical college that is connected or intermixed with a community college to this day. And I don't know. I have no clue on that, Daniel. But that being said, welcome, Daniel. And then when I went to a community college or community/tribal college, when they had real standards, I thought. I mean, I had no problem with them, but you're talking 33 years ago. I guess things have changed. But I remember even here in the middle to latter 90s, when we'd be on break from a nursing home, outside or whatever, and talking and stuff, the aides and the nurses, and kids weren't even being taught how to cursive write anymore, and they weren't getting into they do, some were, but some were being taught some complicated algebra, geometry, statistics, but I don't know. You're talking approximately 30 years ago, 96, 97. I mean, these people are something else, man. I don't know what it takes to for college standards. I guess there's a couple colleges here and there that really do have standards yet. They're the more conservative ones, that are Christian, at least have some Christian values. But that being said, oh yeah, I don't know. Look, she has said so many ridiculous things. I have to take Senator John Neely Kennedy from Louisiana. I have to kind of take his approach. Operation Let AOC Speak, or you go, girl. I mean, she just makes an ass out of herself. I mean, because she is one. That's what she is. That's one of the things she is. And I've seen some of the videos too where she was in her full women's kind of suit, a lot of times that she wears to work and goes to Congress, to the congressional house with, and she likes to dance and she's good at it. That's why I kind of fondly sarcastically call her the pole dancer. But that being said, folks, these are the buffoons that we have on our hands. And we're not just talking intellectually and academically. I mean, we're talking spiritually the most, at least in my POV here. It's kind of a scary situation. She's not the only buffoon in there. Is Jasmine Crockett, did she get district out? Let me look that up. Last I knew, Nasty Jizz in her crotch had, let's Google this up. She was the congressional representative she was the representative for the congressional district, 30th congressional district of Texas. And, redistricting and stuff. I think she still is. I was hoping they'd get her out of there, and I don't think they have yet. And she's good friends, needless, with AOC. Let's look this up here. I'll put it on for you guys as I'm looking at it. We'll just do Wikipedia. I don't look to it a whole lot for dates and birthdays, deaths, and just basic information. They can be okay. Yeah, she's still in. Okay, she's still current. God help us all. Because you've heard about the possible ticket with her, and say her and ALC to run for ALC for president, Jasmine Crockett for vice president. People thought it would say if Kamala, the diva wannabe, harass you, or just say Kamala Debbie Harris. I mean, along with not mine. I'm not in Minnesota anymore, but that's my home state. Along with the, for him to be vice president, Tampon Timmy boy here, you think it would have been problems then if they would have cheated their way in? Imagine AOC and Crockett. Wow. I mean, there's really, I don't have words for it. I mean, it's bad enough now, and Trump is doing a lot of crap, and he's really changed, and, not for the better. But I don't know if I really have any more. I'm still trying to get some information going and maybe do a separate video. I keep telling you people that, and I just haven't. I'm getting the information. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I don't know what would be a good time for me to do it. I suppose I could do it in the middle of the day as long as I'm in between my basic chores and my obligations here at the homestead. But that being said, folks, there's just so much going on. And I know a lot of you keep up with it too. And I trust that with most of my crowd. And I shouldn't be itching. This poison ivy's getting better. It's not nearly as bad as it was. I might have Deb put some more salve, natural herb salve on me tonight. But I keep saying we're on our own. Worry about your own house. Get your own ducks in a row. Keep your house in order if it's already in. If it isn't, get on it. And maybe, keep track of politics and stuff to an extent, but, really know what's going on in your own area. I think first and foremost, you need to start at home, literally the home, like when I'm sitting in our home that God gave us. And then from there, your local community, what's up?
Just to explain to everybody, Texas having a issue. He's like, seems to be a person from some chick in Arizona. Well, I used to live in Arizona. I lived in Texas, Georgia. I've lived in...
Why are you bringing this up?
Minnesota. Well, basically, I was a street evangelist. He's confused. He said the link that we put down is for a person in Arizona.
Oh, to help them out, hopefully? Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But he didn't understand.
Okay, well,
that is our PayPal link.
Yeah, it's ours, yeah.
I'm the chick.
Well, I'm glad we had that cleared up.
Well, I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, there you have it, Hoss. She explained it. But as I was talking, I need to get some more info. Now, keep in mind, folks, when I'm looking up a lot of this information, and I do, it's like I told Wilfred, there's some times where, I'm telling all of you really, when I look up things, I'll type it out word for word, like if they have a certain statement that Adolf Hitler made or that Winston Churchill made or some novelist or whomever, some late senator or whatever. And a lot of times Google will deny it. It's hard to find the information then. I can probably do it. Sometimes it does put it in there. It's like, President Roosevelt really did say this. Adolf Hitler really did say this. And then what they do is they put in their subjection. Now, thankfully, I'm a good reader, even with my cataracts and that, and I have to kind of enlarge in the print. I'm a critical reader. That's one of the classes I took in college, and I did pass. And I read voraciously, so I have to, it's not that hard, folks. You read. and then read, and then read, and you'll get really good at it, okay? You don't have to take a class like that necessarily like I did 33 years ago. I was a good reader before that. I was advanced. And you read the subjections in it. Why did Hitler say this? And, of course, you can't trust that. Why did President Franklin Delano Roosevelt say this? Like he really gave a rip about his fellow American? I doubt that. There's a lot of dirt on Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I've always known that. He got us sucked into the war. He put Japan's back against the wall. The people of that time, in a way, I don't blame them when they attacked on a Sunday morning, December 7th, 1941. I don't like it any. It probably wasn't the right way to deal with it, but I understand. And there was more to it than just that. He made it impossible for embargo trades, and that they had Japan at that time, and the emperor and that they had to choose. And but that being said, I don't. That being said, I just a lot of that stuff's hard to find. They're covering it up, folks, and I have to go to other sources, and sometimes it might even sound like you're a conspiracy theorist crackpot. And I really don't care. Some people are way too far out there for my liking. I'm very guarded, very careful with QAnon. There is some really good information. They have some good people that do that. And they have some people that are, kind of out in left field. But I'm trying to think of what else. I continue to do my thing. I keep encouraging you people. I'm really grateful. I'm really thankful for those of you who make it here on a regular basis to read along. I think Haas reads right along with me with the King James. And I don't know if he's the only one or not, but at least, if you're sitting here listening and stuff, and I think God's word is just so vital. It's essential. It's imperative. It's really imperative. We need God's truth in our life. His word will be exalted above his name. Let me look at it. It's in Psalms. What happened? Oh, okay. I think it's Psalm 138. But I'm going to make sure. There we go. It's coming up. Yeah, Psalm 138, verse 2. Let me put this up here. Give me a second. There we are. Let's go to Bible Hub. I mean, they all have it. Even though New International is a crappy paraphrased translation, it's really a paraphrase. I don't even really consider it a Bible, and I've read it through more than a couple times, a way long time ago. It's your solemn decree. For you have so exalted your solemn decree that it surpasses your fame, the honor of your name with the New Living English Standard Version. For you have exalted above all things your name and your word. Now that's making it tantamount as an equal, and that's wrong. And your word, that Berean Standard Bible does a crappy version. But let's go. King James, I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name. New King James backs that up. And New American Standard Bible, not really so good either. And I actually like the New American Standard Bible for the most part. Anyway, using Bible Hub there. So, that being said, I think that's imperative that we need to keep God's word going as long as we're allowed to in a public setting here. I'm just thinking of ALC. They don't have the expertise, or, talking about Elon Musk. Well, what kind of expertise does that pole dancer have? It's like Rosa DeLauro. I've showed you videos of her before. That 83-year-old woman with the purple hair. And of the 3rd Congressional District of Connecticut, I believe, if I remember correctly. That old hoot. And I don't know if I played it on a live stream. I played her on live stream, but I don't know if I played this particular one where raw milk is not safe. Well, I'm still alive. I'm here. I'm not drinking it right now because I don't have any livestock, and I have not been buying any from another homesteader. But, Dr. Crew from 100 years ago during the Roaring 20s. You can look them up. I've got articles. I wrote them down word for word in case of later in my journals, in case of, this is how many journals ago. I purposely did it, and I put it in red ink so I can find it a little easier if I have to. It's still up on Google, though. Today, medical doctors cannot officially prescribe things that are not drugs or approved by FDA and AMA and all that. Back then, you could, and Dr. Crew used to they can recommend, but they can't prescribe. But back in Crew's day, 100 years ago, they could. He prescribed raw milk for a lot of things. Crohn's disease, whatever, high blood pressure, you name it. And you know what? It worked. Who am I supposed to believe? How would raw milk be any different today than it was a century ago? And I've drank it. I've had raw cow milk, even though that's been many years, but I've had it in the last less than a year and a half or whatever it was. We were drinking raw goat milk regularly, and I just don't. These people are so qualified. Okay. All right, folks. Look, I don't really have a lot more to say. It's been over 82 minutes from the looks on my live deal here. I really appreciate you being here, listening to the reading, and we conferring back and forth, having a decent discussion. Too bad I can't get you up here. So, some of you wanted to come up and say something and be productive, but maybe one day, you never know. But being here and having productive discussions on text and that, continue to come, advertise to your friends. The more, the better. I don't care about disagreements as long as you're reasonable about it. I don't care for the most part about trolls as long as they're not being vulgar, as long as they're not being putting out information that could jeopardize somebody. You moderators see any of that going on? Because I've seen it in the past too, putting people's full names out and their addresses. Man, you get rid of that in a hurry, even if I don't see it. You got I made you moderators for a reason, for whatever reasons, and that's definitely one of them. Keep those people out. If you think you need to maybe just teach them to learn their lesson, maybe just delete it or time them out for a few minutes. Do what you think is right. But in the meantime, folks, read your Bibles. Okay, stay safe out there. Keep your heads on the swivels, your swivels. Stay safe. Peace. Shalom. The Levite man is out of here and ready to eat his dinner. Later.